Okay, so we're on record. I just want to thank Rochel because Rochel actually did this last second. I don't know how much time she had to prepare, but I just want to introduce Rochel a little bit. Rochel Chafetz has been teaching Torah probably for 40 years. She's been teaching to students and she's been teaching to women. She has also spent a large part of her life in the teaching area of trying to get seminary students or prepared girls. Actually, she's been putting together programs for seminary students who don't want to go to Israel. And she has also mentored probably, I don't know how many girls who've had difficulty or are struggling with many other things. So I feel very, very privileged to introduce you to Rochel, and we are so happy that she came back to us. Thank you, Rochel. Are you there?
Yeah. Well, everybody knows Nomi. When Nomi asks you, you don't really have a choice to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this. But yes, I am happy to be back. I didn't have much time. I was in Eretz Yisrael with my sister. But I was just waiting for Hashem to put in the right words. And the words that we're going to be learning today should be a schus for all the injured chayalim, all the chayalim that are out there fighting for us, all the displaced families, all the bereaved mothers, wives, children, and of course, all the hostages. Should be a schus to bring the geula and for all of us. So we're going to tap in a little bit onto the avoda, our avoda on Chanukah. And in order to understand, there's many different elements of Chanukah. Everybody's going to speak about something different, but I decided that I'm going to tap into this nikuda of Chanukah. So in order to understand the job of Kislev and our avoda and the essence of our avoda on Chanukah, we have to understand the difference between Torah shebe'al peh and Torah shebechsav. Now, Torah shebe'al peh and Torah shebechsav, obviously we have one Torah, but one is written and one is oral. And what's the difference? Chanukah, by the way, is considered the yontif of Torah shebe'al peh, and that's why we have to understand what that means. What does that mean? So every day we make the bracha, Asher natan lanu Torahs emes, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. So Chazal say that Torah shebechsav is Torah emes, Torah's emes. Chaye olam nata b'tochenu is Torah shebe'al peh. What is Torah? What is Torah? Torah are the tools to help us improve. Torah's Chaim teaches us how to live, and it actually is Hashem speaking to us. It's not about chokhmah. It's not about wisdom. It's not about how much I know. Now, Torah shebechsav happens to be cryptic. It's vague. Sometimes it's contradictory. You'll see that there'll be psukim and psukim of Shema Yisrael, and then there's going to be psukim and psukim of the lineage of Esav and Yishmael. And we, in our littleness, we think that there's more importance that's given to the Shema Yisrael, and why would the Torah give us lists and lists of the genealogy of Esav and Yishmael? Because there's deeper messages. Torah shebe'al peh was passed down from father to son, from Rebbe to Talmud, right? From Moshe Masaretz El Yoshua. There's divine Torah, that's Torah shebechsav, and then there's the human Torah, which is Torah shebe'al peh. Both are necessary. Ramban says it's all one. So what's the difference? Torah shebe'al peh is, Chazal say, listen to the words, is sidura v'ginuza b'soch nafshosehem. It's hidden already in our souls. It's there. So therefore, we all have the ability and the obligation to attain all the secrets and all the remazim and all the details that are hidden in Torah shebe'al peh. That nekuda of pnimius, of Yiddishkeit, the pnimius of Torah, that's the nekuda which differentiates us between the other nations. It's a Mesorah. It was passed down
father to son. It says in Pirkei Avos, Moshe, Masar Etze Liyeshua. That's the element which the Yevanim did not like. Yevanim did not want that. Yevanim wanted the outer Torah, the wisdom, the Chachma. In the Beis HaMikdash, there were two Kalim. There was the menorah, and then there was the Aron, which had the Luchos. The Aron was the Yesod of Torah B'Chsav. From the Paroches came the Hashba of Torah B'Chsav to the people. But then there was the menorah. From the menorah emanated the Chochmah of Torah Shebi'al Peh, and that was given to man. That Hashba was given to Chachamim in order to transmit it to the people. Now, that's called man's initiative. We're going to see that in Chanukah, it was all about man's initiative. The Netziv tells us that when Moshe wanted to understand something in a deeper way, because there were many things that he did not understand, he stood next to the Neros. He stared at the Neros. And that is the koach that gave him the understanding, the Havana, and then the Mesorah. It's not a coincidence that Torah is called Ner Mitzvah, the Torah's Or. Why is that? Ner Mitzvah, Torah Or, the candle, the light. We say every morning, V'ha'er einenu b'sorasecha, because we are asking Hashem to allow ourselves, we're begging him to try to connect to the pnimius of the Torah. What is the Torah trying to tell me? What is the message of genealogy? What is Chanukah trying to tell me? What is Purim trying to tell me? What is Yontif trying to tell me? How is God talking to me? It says over there in the Psukim, Vayishma es hakol midaber elav dibur min hashemayim. That was Torah Sheb'Chsav. But Torah Shebi'al Peh was given to Aaron, meaning what? Vaydaber elav b'haloscha es haneros. That was the dibur of Torah Shebi'al Peh. That was also a remez of the future Chanukah, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe, Aaron, that in the future, you're going to be in charge of a different kind of a menorah. That is not only the menorah of Chanukah, but the menorah of Torah Shebi'al Peh. The tzivui of that menorah was to complete the Torah by transmitting the light of Torah Shebi'al Peh. So Moshe was the messenger of Torah Sheb'Chsav. Aaron was the mediator of Torah Shebi'al Peh. The tzivui of the menorah was given to him. What is Torah Shebi'al Peh? Torah Shebi'al Peh is the yigia of man. It's our avoda. It's our initiative. It's man's ability to internalize, to actualize his pnimius, the pnimius of the Torah. Really, Torah Shebi'al Peh is hispatchus. It's when we spread ourselves out, not just in our chachma, but in everything that we do. We take what we learn and we try to figure out how to bring it inside, but then how to expand it. What does Hashem want? Hashem desires man's initiative. That's why the pasuk says, Asher bara Elokim la'asos. God created us in order to do. He wants the initiative, right? I always talk about this story. You know, everybody says this story differently. That maybe the Baal Shem Tov, some say it's Mezbit. We never know who it is. Who was ready to blow the shofar, and he stops. He doesn't blow it, and they're waiting and waiting. They're asking, like, "What are you waiting for?" He said, "Bring me Yankel." Yankel was a poor man. He was like 8 feet tall. I tell the story all the time. And he says to Yankel, comes in. He says, "Yankel, how do you talk to your wife? How do you have a conversation?" Because she was 4 feet and he's like 7 feet. He says, "Well, what happens is that she gets on her toes, tippy toes, and then I bend down." That's man's initiative. That is Torah Shebi'al Peh. So that's why Aaron, if you take a look, I'm not going to give you a Chumash class now, but if you go to Bahaloscha, you'll see Bahaloscha Saneros. It says that Aaron had to step up. He had to physically go up to light the candle because it's man's initiative to bring out from us and down the Or Pnimis of Torah Shebial Peh. And we can do it. Why can we do it? Because Hashem is Nishra inside each and every one of us. Hashem gave us the Chachamim and the Koach, and listen to the words the Chazal use, to be Mosif and Mashpia, everybody around us through Torah Shebial Peh. Same Lashon as the Chanukah Neros, to be Mosif. It's all the same. Every time we add a candle, we are literally adding another level of Torah Shebial Peh. Now, there were two tkufos in the history of Bnei Israel. One was the Bayis Rishon, which was all done by Nevi'im, but then that disappeared. Then that came to an end. Bayit Sheni, it was ruled by Torah Shebial Peh. It was the Hanhaga, was by the Koach of Torah Shebial Peh, meaning all the words and understanding of the Chachamim, and by then there was no Aaron, there was just a menorah. The Maharal tells us actually that the existence of Bayis Rishon was in schus of the three avos. The existence of Bayis Sheni was the schus of Knesset Yisrael. Why is that? Because stored up in Knesset Yisrael is Torah Shebial Peh, meaning we are walking, talking, living little Torahs. That's what we are inside of us. And that's what makes us different from all the other nations. And the whole purpose of Yavan was to extinguish that fire, that pnimius, that connection, to be mitame, that part of Bnei Israel. They believed in the culture, they believed in the intellectual component of Torah Shebichsav, but we are so much more than the intellectual component. I know when I train teachers, I tell them Torah is not an intellectual pursuit. It's not how much you know. It's not how much you memorize. It's not how much you spit back. It's learning it, lilmod, lilamed, in order to lishmor, vilasos, like we say every day, in order to understand how to do it. What's Hashem telling me? What's my avoda? The koyach of Torah Shebial Peh is his pashtus. It's not confined. We have the chance to interpret, to reinterpret, to expand, and to grow. And that's our essence. And that's what makes me free. Because with that koach, I'm not bound up by anything. And I have the choice to be sholate over my yetzer. So really, what is this war? The war of Chanukah, what was it? It was the war of chitzonius over pnimius. The idea of Chochmah was purely chitzonius. I wear my wig, I keep Shabbos, I cover my elbows, I send to the best schools, etc., etc. But ours is much deeper. We're searching and yearning for the pnimius of it all. Now, what was Yavon? We know that the kingdoms represented the three averos of Yaharov Ve'al Yavor. Yavon happened to have represented Shlichus Damim. But why? Why was Yavon symbolic of, why did he represent Shlichus Damim? Because when one kills, what happens? You remove the blood from that person, so to speak. You remove the chiyus of that person. Blood is what gives us our life. Yavan tried to do that, to take away the blood, the koach hanafshi, which is the pnimius of Yiddishkeit. It's what gives us life. It is the life. It is the lifeline. So what does this all mean? Well, two people can do the same mitzvah, and yet one's intention is chitzoni and one is pnimi. Example, greatest example, Shem and Yafet. They both saw their father's nakedness, right? They both covered him. Very nice. They did the mitzvah. However, one covered him because he couldn't bear to see the neshama of his father, that Tselem Elokim be disrespected, the pnimius. The other one, he only saw the outer shell. To him, it was just like repulsive to see the body. And that's what we have to ask ourselves every single day. What lies beneath the mitzvahs that I do? Is it for others? Is it that other people should say, whoa, look at her. Look at the chesed she does. Look how she does things, right? Is it for Yenim? Is it for that? What does it look like to others? Or is it because I want to give Hashem nachis? It's because maybe I want to align myself with Hashem. How I cannot bear to disrespect another human being because that person is created b'tzelem Elokim. How I want to bring kedusha to myself and my home, to connect to my inner essence. The menorah reflects the fire of the soul. It's the desire to rise to the source. It makes me realize who I am. The other mitzvahs, by the way, represent the limbs. 248 mitzvahs are keneged, 248 limbs. The menorah is the soul. It's the soul. And when you light those candles, you're really like elevating. You're elevating yourself. You're bringing something from inside and you're elevating it. So what's the expression of my soul? What does that mean? Expression of my soul, the menorah is the expression of my soul. Empathy, that's one, right? The meaning of truth. My sister and I, we talk about it all the time, to be truthful, to live a life of MS, right? Whatever's in my heart, whatever's outside, reverence for others. Why am I here? Am I just a number? The menorah is my commitment. It has one base to express the oneness of Hein Am Levadad Yishkan, that I am a nation that stands alone. I need no one but Hashem. I am one with Hashem. Everybody complains since the war that the world is against us. Duh. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. The world's against us, Baruch Hashem. Because when the world is against us, watch what happens to us. We were all dispersed. Now the world is against us. So now it forces us to come together. We're squished together. We're forced to be one. We're forced to be one with each other and one with Hashem. I need no one but Hashem. I am one with Hashem, but I am one with everybody else, right? What bothered the angel when he wrestled with Yaakov? Vayivater Yaakov levado, because he was alone, and he was okay with being alone. And that's what the angel couldn't handle. He couldn't handle the fact that he was okay being alone. By the mitzvah of menorah, it says in Baloscha, Vayas Cain Aaron. By the creation of light, there is no word Cain. Why? Because that light was hidden. And where is it hidden? It's hidden in the souls. Aaron comes, he lights the menorah, and he brings back that light. It's the light of Torah Shebial Peh, which is the pnimius of the Torah, which really lies inside of each and every one of us. So every time we light that menorah, we too are doing what Aaron did. We bring the light, we are reigniting the hidden light within us. We're reaching deeper and deeper into our souls to attach ourselves to the essence of Torah Shebial Peh, which is really reflective of my Yiras Shamayim. It's all about Yiras Shamayim. Where can I really praise and sing Hashem in the depths of my soul? To rid ourselves of all the chitzonius that get in the way, that hide this Or Haganus. So in order to really understand, let's look at the mitzvahs that surround Chanukah, right? That surround the menorah, the beautiful menorah, and then we can put it all together. So the first thing we know is we use olive oil. So why do we use olive oil? So let's talk about shemen. Shemen, if you take a look at the word, and it's always important to look at the word, and one must never learn Torah without looking at the words. That's why it's so important to use the Torah and to use the Chumash and to look in the texts, because the words speak to us. So you look at the word shemen, and it comes shemen, shemama, neshama. The Yavanim tried to create shemama, destruction. How? By bringing darkness. See? Not to see the Or Haganuz, not to see the pnimius of the person, the pnimius of the Torah, the pnimius of Hashem. They try to stuff away the Or Haganuz. When that happens, we forget our shame. We forget who we are. We forget our identity. We forget why I'm here. The shame which comes from my neshama, the neshama that Hashem took and blew nishima inside of that. The rabbim of the Jews were lost. They wanted to lose that part of them. But it was the ma'atim that said, no, 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 no. We will fight for our name. Shemen comes from the word shemona. What is the number 8? 8 is symbolic of a life of a Jew by which he can raise himself even higher towards Hashem. You get to 7. That's the level of worldly spirituality. And then you move above, right? 8th day, bris milah. 8 threads in tzitzis. Shmini atzeres. 8 different kinds of spices in the Beis Hamikdash. 8 musical instruments in the Beis Hamikdash. 8 was a number that you saw a lot in the Beis Hamikdash. Neshama, neshima, the breath which HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew inside of us. Oil. Oil was used to anoint the Kohanim. Oil was used to anoint the Malachim. What does oil do? Oil's good. It penetrates deeply into our skin inside, right? So really when I'm lighting with the oil, I'm hoping that the message of the oil is going to penetrate deeply inside of me. And when it penetrates deeply inside of me, I'll be a full vessel, and then I'll be able to spread it out and allow what I know now and share it with others. We have the ability to be like the oil, to penetrate others as well. That's why we have 1, 2, 3. They're our little friends. Why an olive? Well, look at the olive. The olive was the first thing that showed Noah that there was light in the world. Okay, so it represents light. But what is olive? Olive is the smallest little fruit, and it's black, and the blacker it is, the richer the oil is. In smallness lies greatness. Chazal say that, where do you see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's greatness? In his smallness. The olive tree was the only tree not destroyed by the Mabul. It was a sign of rebirth. But how can that be? It's so tiny. It's so black. That's right. That's where there's rebirth. Through the blackness, through the smallness, the olive tree is the representation of life after destruction. And what happens in order to get the oil? You have to crush the olive. You have to crush. We crush the chitzonius away so that the pnimius of the oil comes out. And then we can recognize our shame, our identity, our pnimius. And then we develop and we realize through my anivus now that it's only Hashem. And we have the ability then to penetrate deeply and make room for others. You cannot make room for others when you're so full of yourself. So we take the little olive, we crush it a little, meaning get rid of all the stuff in the way. It doesn't allow the oil to come out. And then the oil comes out. And then we can actually be who we are. But we never lose our individuality. And we never lose our identity. Because oil and water, they mix, but the oil stays on top. We can remain distinct. We don't dissolve into other people. We don't dissolve into other societies. When we realize how small we are, we realize how great we can become. So Levichik says something very beautiful, and then I'll finish with a story and talk about Pesach Habayis. So he says there's 2 kinds of Neiros. There's Ner Shabbos and Ner Chanukah. There's actually 3, but we won't talk about Havdalah now, maybe another time. Ner Shabbos is Ner HaMaor. It's the light of illumination. It's enjoyed by many, which lights up the whole house. Ner Chanukah is Ner Hanira. It's a remote light. It attracts us. It pulls us. It guides us towards a destination. It warms us. It makes us realize who we are. It makes us proud of the one base. We follow it. It tells us to move along. It tells us something we may not understand. It doesn't dissipate the darkness. It actually twinkles at us and it guides us through the darkness. V'haloscha es haneros ya'iru shiva neros. And when you light the candles, that candle will elevate you because you'll be able to see things differently. Because the chitzonius is going to be gone. It's only the pnimius. Ha'er einenu b'sorasecha. You will be tuned into the organos. You will bring out the pnimius. The elevation is the change in what I see. The change in what I see comes from the pnimius inside. And that's going to bring the heavenly and earthly things together. And through Mesiras Nefesh and the battle for our values, we will be able to bring the Shekhinah back into our homes. So why do we do it Petach Habayit? What's with the doorway? Like, what's that? Right? Because we have a choice. The doorway is symbolic of instability. We can open the door, we close the door. We create walls, which need to be created, right? What does it say in Hellenism? Partsu chomos. We bring back those walls. Kliakar asks a beautiful question. I think it's by Parshas after the Akedah, when Avram was finished the Akedah and he was blessed. So Kliakar asks, why sometimes do Bnei Israel, are they compared to Afar, and why are they sometimes not Afar, sand, and why to stars? Kliakar says something beautiful. So we all know stars because, yeah, stars, when things are good, we're bright, we light, we're so many, we're different, we bring light to the world. Listen to what he says about sand, right? If you take a look at the water, the ocean, when the ocean becomes angry, the waves become very, very, very big and high. And the waves have the ability to come in and destroy the land. The sand seems to create a barrier, not to allow the waves to come in. Same with Bnei Israel. When the people, the Oivim, want to come and destroy us, right? What's our protection? The Afar, the barriers. The barriers that we put up, the walls, the chomos, the boundaries, to say, no, we're different. Meaning, I'm the Ivri. I live on the other side of society. I'm going to eat differently, talk differently, walk differently. Not that I'm better than you. That's my shame. That's my neshama. That's my identity when I create the barriers. Why do you think there's Kohanim, Malachim, Leviim, Yisraelim, Nashim, Anashim? Everybody has a role. The minute everything gets mishkababbled together, then the power of the waves can just come in and destroy. So Petach Habayit is really the ability to understand when to open the door and when to close the door, what to bring in and what not to bring in. So I'm going to finish off with two beautiful stories, and then we'll put it all together. So there is a unbelievable story from Mezhbitz, and everybody came to light the candles of the Rebbe, and the Rebbe starts to light candles, and they're singing, and all of a sudden the candle begins to flicker. It leaps, it flies, it runs, it dances, and that's it, disappears. But it didn't make sense because it's not like there was smoke. It was just not there anymore. Like, where did it go? And the Rebbe was very upset, and everybody's singing and singing. Something was bothering him. And all of a sudden, it was near midnight, and it was terrible weather, and the door comes flying in, and in comes this chassid who looks like Nebuch. You can't imagine what he looks like. He sits down at the table, and he starts to tell his story. He says, you understand, there was a terrible storm this week. I really wanted to make it here, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to, but I tried anyways because I had to be with Rebbe for Chanukah. But I know it was a foolish idea because nobody went out. No one was able to get out that night. And last night I ran into a gang of thieves, and they saw me and they figured that maybe I was wealthy because who else would come out in this weather? And they demanded I surrendered to them all the money that I have. And I said, I have nothing. I'm going to my Rebbe. That's all I'm doing. But they didn't believe him. They beat him. They tortured him. They took everything away. The chief arrives. They question him. And after hours and hours, he lies there in prison. And he's thinking about the joy that he would feel if he was in Rebbe's presence. And the chief says to him, something's interesting here. I sense that your faith in God is very strong. There's something about your inner essence that seems to be talking to me. You have a longing to be with your Rebbe. It seems to be genuine and intense. But we're going to see if this is the truth. I'm going to let you go. But you should know that the way is very dangerous. Even the most rugged people will not even attempt to venture out. You can leave, you try your luck. If you get through the forest with the animals and the terrible weather, I will break up my gang and reform my ways. If you actually reach the outskirts of the city, throw your handkerchief into the ditch next to the road, behind, over there, near the signpost. My men will be waiting there, and that's how I know that you made it. I was petrified, he said. The hardships that I already endured, I'll never be able to do this. But then I kept thinking how wonderful it would be, wonderful to light the candles with my Rebbe, with the menorah. I shook up my fears. I'm not going to delay. I'm going to just keep going. And there was total darkness all around. I heard the cries of the forest animals. They sounded close. I feared that I was surrounded by a pack of vicious wolves. I got onto my horse. I crouched. He didn't move. He refused to move. There was pitch blackness. I had no idea what to do. At that moment, a small light flickered in front of the carriage. The horse stepped towards it. The light advanced. The horse followed. All along the way, the wild animals fled from us, as if the tiny dancing flame was driving them away. We followed and followed. We followed. I got to the end. I took the handkerchief. I threw it into the ditch. I don't know if they changed their ways. It was only then the Hasidim saw that the light returned. It's so interesting. Rav Soloveitchik talks about the candlelights as being near Hameor, the flickering light, the light that guides us, the light that pulls us. And the story is a Hasidic story, which goes to show you we're all one base, Hasidic, Litvish. It doesn't make a difference. Ner HaMeor. There's three kinds of Neros. There's Ner Shabbos, Ner Chanukah, and Ner Havdalah. What's the difference? So Jonathan Sacks says that Ner Shabbos, just like Rav Soloveitchik, because he quotes from Rav Soloveitchik, that is the peace in the home. They're lit indoors. Judaism's inner light. Ner Chanukah is Judaism brings the light into the world when we're not afraid to announce our identity, our principles, to fight for our values, to fight for who I am, to believe in what I believe in. Havdalah candle is made out of 2 wicks because it's the fusion of 2. It's the fusion. When we Jews live in private, filling our homes with the light of Shabbos, when we live as Jews in public, bringing the light of hope to others, and when we live both together, then we bring light to the world. That's the pnimius of Chanukah. The Blushever Rebbe was standing in the camps, and he was ready to make the bracha, Shechianu. Can you imagine? And he couldn't. He just couldn't. Because how can I say that, Shechianu v'gianu zman hazeh, when I see behind me so much death? There's no way I can do it. When he turns around and he looks behind him and he sees all the people waiting with their eyes. They're waiting, ready, yearning with their eyes. Ha'er aneinu b'sorasecha. The re'iyah, the pnimius. There was no chitzonius there. There was nothing. And he makes the bracha. And afterwards, an angry man comes over to him and says, How dare you make such a bracha? You say this bracha when there's so many dead people all around?
So he answers,
that's a difference between you and me. I see something different than you. You see only dead bodies. I didn't. I saw hope. I saw something different. I saw eyes that were pleading light in people's souls. I saw Torah B'Al Peh. I saw Pnimius. I saw the Chashmonayim fighting when it would look like there was nothing else to fight for. I saw people who were fighting back for their shame, for their neshama. I saw people with their neshima. I saw people who want to live in the Shmona. I saw the one base of the menorah. You didn't. So ladies, every year when we light the candles, we ignite, we bring down the hidden light, which is really inside each and every one of us, allowing us to fight the chitzonius versus the pnimius, us versus society, to fight for our uniqueness, our identity, to keep our walls strong, our passion, our connection burning, the light which says, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. I'm going to take you to the destination where Kadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be. Have a lichtige Chanukah. Have a wonderful day. Continue with your learning. Continue connecting to my wonderful sister, Naomi Greenberg. And in her schus, 100% Mashiach. She'll be the one that's going to be leading Mashiach with all the instruments and everything else. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rochel. Amazing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank
Well
you
done,
so much,
sisters.
Rochel. That was just
Great
illuminating.
message.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all
I
Thank you
think you
so much.
sisters better
No,
start
no,
demanding
no.
that Mashiach comes. He will not be able to say no to both of you. Thank you.
That was amazing.
I agree.
We say thank you, Hashem. I really did not know what was going to come out of my mouth, but I say thank you, Hashem. Ha'erinenu b'sorasecha, Hashem. And he did. Okay. Thank you very much. I gotta go.
Thank you, Rochel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Bye.
We're
Thank you
gonna
so
finish
much.
up. Don't go
Thank
yet. We're
you.
gonna finish up the
Thank you.
finish up the Tillim.
Amazing,
Thanks,
amazing.
Rachel. We're gonna finish up the Tillim. I'm gonna take us off of just give me a second. Just gonna take us off of record.